All right, good morning and welcome to the 294th District Court. My name is Chris Martin. I'm going to call this morning's criminal docket. When you hear your name, please say present or here. For the record, cause number CR 13406, State versus Christopher Glenn Anderson. Mr. Anderson appears to be logged in to the Zoom waiting room. We'll recall his case. Courtney Atwood. I got you. Thank you. Lemmy Brandon, CR 21206. Mr. Nolan White has been retained, has filed a waiver of arraignment. That's been accepted by the court. Pretrial set March 25th. Mr. Brandon, come on up. Brandon, right there at those podiums. All right, I've received your attorney's waiver of arraignment, Mr. White. I'm going to set you for pretrial on March 25th. We have a form here that she's going to bring for you to sign. Before you leave, I want you to meet with the pretrial release officer. Sign your conditions. You're doing that now? Okay. Yeah, make sure you get that done. After you do that, you're free to go. Tammy Crocker. Max Juarez. Max Juarez for Sanctions Court. I see it. I have a note that it's going to make the operations. Benjamin Carnes or Carnes. Carnes. He's here. He's outside. All right, thank you. Do you know what he's doing outside? He's meeting with pretrial release. Okay. Dylan Meza. Yeah. Lena Price. Keith Pryor. Okay, I have a note that he may still be in Jackson County, Florida, so we'll recall that case. Shacole Sampson. Keith Thomas. Avery Tienda. In Hoffman County Jail on $100,000 bail for what? For our revocation. For Hoffman County revocation. Edgar Vasquez. Here. Ian Gray. Ms. Brumble. Mr. Gray, come on up. Ms. Brumbelow filed a motion for continuance. The court's granted that. I've reset your pretrial to February 18th. I'm going to have you sign this form. Ms. Abraham will bring that to you. Once you sign, you're free to go. Charles Hairston, second. Jesse Lowry. Here. Lisa Pease, CR 22389. We've informed Mr. Green and Ms. Pease that bench trial is set on Friday, that she was not required to be here today.
Thank you.
James Godwin. Here. Sean Allen. Present. Sean Davis. Here. John Ray Davis. Dorothy Harvey. Daniel Makeda. Here. Daniel McGregor. Isaiah Madrano. Lucas Peary. Matthew Powell. Matthew Lee Ryan Powell. Ricky Roan. Sarah Walker, cause numbers CR 24190, 2024, 138, 139, and 140. It's my understanding that she was set for plea today, but has left due to some kind of emergency room visit.
Judge, I received information last night about 9:30 that she had emergency room visit, had medical documentation. I followed up with the bondsman, and we'll have more information. That's what later.
Okay, court will recall that case. Andrea Whitaker. Bennett Watts. Damon Watson. Here. Robert Burke. Here. Drake Andrews. Wyatt Berkwin, CR 24-128. We're set for status of TDC custody. Believe that he's currently located in the Kyle unit of TDC, Mr. Schmidt, so we'll recall that. Maybe they're on a Smith County safety. Trevion Bowie, Smith County custody, we'll recall that one. Christopher Crutcher.
Present, Your Honor.
John Dickerson.
Here.
Jeremy Estridge. Shunta Foster has been verified in custody in Gregg County. We'll recall that case. Fernando Hernandez. Braxton Johnson. Braxton Pierre Johnson. Jesus Landa. Thomas Morris. Thomas Wayne Morris. Adam Scott, waiver of arraignment's been filed by Mr. Schmidt. That's been accepted by the court. Pre-trial is set in each case February 18th. That's cause number CR 24-287, 288, and 289, 290, and 291. John Robert Ross. Come on up, Mr. Ross. This is cause number CR 24-224. I believe your attorney, Mr. Stevens, had notified the court that there was a conflict with his schedule. I believe he was out on vacation. Court is going to reset your case for docket call on February 11th. I'm going to have you sign this notice of appearance. After that, you're free to go. Thank you. Gavin Gonzalez. Looks like Mr. Wells may have filed a waiver of arraignment. He did file, okay. Waiver of arraignment filed, pretrial set March 25th. That's Gavin Gonzalez, CR 24-208. Joshua Hogue. Corey Kimball. Dalton King, CR 24-277. Mr. Wood has filed a waiver of arraignment. Court is accepted that and set pretrial. Mr. Wood speak with you about setting pretrial in March on Mr. King.
I'm sure he spoke with maybe Miss Curry, but the state has no objection to a March setting, Your Honor.
All right, court sets Mr. King for pretrial on March 25th. I believe he did meet with Mr. West. And he's also been given his TRN order over to check in and check. All right, is there anyone who's in the courtroom and your name's not been called? All right, it's back. Let me see. All right, Misty, I've got you down. Do you have a sanction? I think she was probably reset from the last. But if you'll get that. Your name, sir?
George Davis.
First name again? George Davis? Okay, I got it. I thought we released Mr. Davis. Didn't we release him? Mr. Davis, come on up. And your name, sir? Mr. Juarez, okay. Yeah, I had him checked off. All right, Mr. Davis, I believe we released you last time, so.
Said they need a letter from you saying that everything's okay.
Okay. Come over here and meet with probation, and then we'll get you worked out. Anyone else? Your name's not been called? You haven't heard it called? All right, we do have a large number on the docket this morning. A lot of these cases were carried over from our bad weather day earlier this month, so I'm looking to call them fast and furious so that we can get out of here in time, okay? We have any attorneys that are ready? Robert Burke, CR 24-199. All right, Mr. Rosenstein, Mr. Burke is set for pretrial today. Do you have any contested pretrial motions or issues?
We have no pretrial, Your Honor, and we're still discussing things with state for offer. So we'd like to be reset for docket.
Okay. Court finding there are no pretrial motions, we'll set this matter for docket call. You have your calendar with you, Mr. Rosenstein?
Yes, Your Honor.
I've got a few dates in February. I've got February 11th, February 13th, or February 18th.
February 18th, Your Honor.
18th? All right, Mr. Burke, you're set for docket call February 18th at 9 a.m. Once you sign your notice of setting, then you're free to go.
Thank you.
Hawkins, you ready?
James Wesley Godwin.
Mr. Godwin? This is cause number CR 23-140, State versus James Wesley Godwin for docket call. Go ahead, Mr. Hawkins.
Your Honor, my client is here today. We're asking for additional pass. We have a witness that has actually come forward. I've got the statement, she's not come in to sign it yet. It's supposed to this week. If I can get just a little bit additional time, I can get that to the prosecutor, and then we can try to work something out on this matter.
State.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, court will set Mr. Godwin for a final docket call. Which one of those days do you want, Mr. Hawkins? 11th, 13th, or 18th of February?
Let's do 18th, Judge.
All right, court sets Mr. Godwin for final docket call February 18th at 9 a.m. Mr. Godwin, you're upright and moving along. It's pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Good news. Good to see that.
Judge, that's all I have. Anybody have excuse?
Yes, free to go. Thank you, Mr. Hawkins.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's also cause number CR 23-141, setting that for docket call, final docket.
I appreciate that.
February
Okay, thank you.
18th. Any other attorneys you ready?
Morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Thank you, Jesse Lowry.
Your last name again?
Clancy
Clancy, okay.
on Mr. Lowry.
Mr. Lowry, come on up. This is cause number CR 24-171, State versus Jesse Lee Lowry. We're set for docket call. Go ahead, Mr. Clancy.
Judge, last time we had a first setting, I did a motion to substitute. We had a docket call. I've gotten discovery from the state since that time. I think there's a few things that are still missing. I talked to state about it, talked to Alfredo about it this morning. I want to see if we do one more docket call. I might have some motions I'd like to file, but I'd like to get full discovery before I do that. And there's been no offer from the state at this point.
All right. Any objections from the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, court will set Mr. Lowry for an additional docket call. 11th, 13th, or 18th. Which one do you want?
Can I do February 13th?
13th, absolutely. Court sets Mr. Lowry then for docket call February 13th at 9 a.m. Once you sign and get the yellow copy, Mr. Lowry, free to go.
Great. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Clancy. Appreciate you.
Have a good day.
Right, you ready? Joshua Hogue. This is cause number CR 24-140, State versus Joshua Ernest Hogue, and we are set for docket. Go ahead, Mr. White.
Well, actually, Your Honor, there's 4 cases on this. And on CR 24-261, I filed my normal pretrial motions. I don't believe the state has any opposition to it. On 259 and 260, I adopted the motions that I'd already filed in CR 24-140. And at this point, we are just needing a docket call.
Okay. All right, court finding there are no contested pretrial motions and cause numbers CR 24-260, CR 24-261, and CR 24-259. Go Court sets Mr. Hoag for docket call. What date do you want, Mr. White? 11th, 13th, or 18th?
11?
I guess the 18th would be fine.
All right, court sets Mr. Hoag in all cases for docket call February 18th. Mr. Kimball. This is cause number CR 24-142, State of Texas versus Corey Wayne Kimball for docket call. Go ahead, Mr. White.
Your Honor, we've received an offer Friday. Ms. Curry's handling this case. She said she didn't have any problem with us having a little bit of time to consider her new offer. I feel like we'll set it for docket, but I feel like at least 95% sure that we will have an agreement.
Okay. All right, court sets Mr. Kimball for final docket call February 18th. Mr. Schmidt, are you ready or do you need time? Who would you like to call? Drake Allen Andrews. This is cause number CR 24-89. Mr. Andrews, I should be set for a docket call.
Judge, we'll know it's ready for trial at this point.
Is there an offer extended by the state?
I don't know that we have an offer, Judge. I know that we're working towards a resolution. I provided the DA's office with a lot of material. I don't think they've had an opportunity to review it all. I expect we'll be able to resolve the case. But rather than just dragging it, it'll get us all off the center.
Okay, all right, court sets Mr. Andrews then for jury selection. We'll begin that February 3rd. Mr. Andrews, you'll need to report to the court on February 3rd. You will not report here. You will report downstairs, meet with my staff member, perhaps the pretrial release officer, and check in, sign your notice. And you'll continue to do that until your case is set to trial. And Mr. Schmidt will not be here on the 3rd to meet with you because your case will not be in the top 10.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I also show Mr. Andrews that you're delinquent on your pretrial release fees.
No, sir, I paid them off
When did you pay them?
yesterday.
Okay, how much did you pay?
120.
All right, thank you, sir.
Ms. Crutcher?
Christopher Edward Crutcher, CR 24302. Go that way. Right there, right there, first row, all the way across. There you go. All right, Mr. Crutcher is set for arraignment today.
That's correct, Judge. We received the indictment. We'll waive formal reading. He understands the nature of the charges, name spelled correctly, enter plea not guilty.
All right, court finds that Mr. Crutcher, having waived the formal requirements of arraignment, enters his plea of not guilty into the record. Court sets this matter for pretrial hearing. What day do you prefer, Mr. Schmidt? There's two Tuesdays, the 11th and the 18th.
18th will be fine.
18th. All right, court sets Mr. Crutcher then for pretrial February 18th. Mr. Crutcher, have you met with Mr. West, the pretrial release officer yet?
No,
Sign
sir.
your conditions of
No,
pretrial
sir, Your
release?
Honor.
Okay, then, what do you want? After you sign your notice, you'll bring that yellow copy with you, and you'll come in here and they'll meet with you about your conditions.
Yes, sir, yeah.
And then you'll go back that way, so. Go out the hall. No. Go back there and then this way.
Who do you want next, Mr. Chairman?
John Dickerson.
John Franklin Dickerson, cause number CR 24-180.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Schmidt, I show that Mr. Dickerson is set for docket call.
That's correct, Judge. We're gonna ask for a final docket call on Mr. Dickerson. We received an offer from the state recently. I have not had an opportunity to relay that to Mr. Dickerson.
All right, court sets Mr. Dickerson for final docket call February 18th at 9 a.m.
Just give me a call tomorrow.
Today.
Tomorrow. I'll be on court all day today, so.
Mr. Schmidt, is he hard of hearing?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask him about his bond supervision, his pretrial release fees, $40.
He's judge got some questions for you. Judge, pay attention.
Mr. Dickerson, I show that you're delinquent on your pretrial fees, about $40. Have you paid those yet?
No, sir, I ain't,
Can you pay those today?
no, sir, not really.
When can you pay them?
Maybe sometime this week or something I'll try. I don't have a job or anything. I'm unemployed. And I ain't got down to the disability office yet.
Okay, I want you to report to your pretrial release officer and talk with him about it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're free to go.
Free to go. Jeremy, huh?
Jeremy Estridge.
Yes, sir.
Jeremy Wayne Estridge, CR 11-119. All right, to show that we're here on status for restitution compliance.
That's correct, Judge, and we're gonna ask to keep carrying Mr. Estridge on restitution status. Excuse me.
Any updates on his payment? I got, my notes say his last payment was in November, about $700.
700 in November.
I'm gonna pay the 1,000 on the 37th.
Said he'd pay 1,000 on the 31st.
Of this month? All right, court will reset Mr. Estridge. All right, I want to bring you back on the 18th. You pay your 1,000 on the 31st, and then we'll look at bumping you out a little bit further. And Mr. Estridge, before you leave, Ms. Burns needs to meet with you.
You want him back there?
Yes. Mr. Hernandez.
Hernandez, yes, sir.
Fernando Hernandez. Right, Mr. Hernandez is set, cause number CR 23-162 for docket call. Go ahead.
That's correct, Judge. I think we're pretty close to working Mr. Hernandez out, but we'd ask for a final docket call setting on the 218.
Any objections from the state?
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, court sets Mr. Hernandez for final docket call February 18th at 9 a.m. Once he signs, he's free to go. Still got one.
Yes, sir.
Jesus Landa, CR 24-213. Mr. Landa is set for docket call today.
That's correct, Judge. We're gonna ask for an additional docket call soon.
Any objections from the state?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, court sets additional docket call for Mr. Landa, February 18th at 9 a.m. Ben, let's go ahead and do some of your resets that aren't here. Some of these people that are in custody, I'm gonna get them off the docket. Court calls CR 24-128 State versus Wyatt Lane Berkland. Court finds that he is in the custody of TDC and the Collin unit. I have a note here that he may be there on a safety order. Is there any additional information for the court?
Not from,
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right, court will set Mr. Berkland for status of TDC custody. And if the state will look, if y'all will look into that, let me know. If he's there on safe P and we're wanting to wait till he completes his term. If he's not there on safe P, then maybe it's just a bench warrant issue. So you'll just update the court and let me know what we want to do. Court will reset Mr. Berkland for status on February 18th. All right, cause number CR 24-198 State versus Trevion Lakeith Bowie. Show that Mr. Bowie is in custody in Smith County. He was set for arraignment today. We'll reset arraignment to February 18th. CR 24-164 State of Texas versus Shunta Renee, I think it's probably Renee Foster. She's still verified in Gregg County. Any updates on the competency issue that we've been talking about with her?
I don't have any updates on her restoration. I haven't received any from her defense attorney.
All right, court will reset Ms. Foster for competency restoration status February 18th. Is Braxton Johnson here? Braxton Pierre Johnson? Have you received any kind of information from Mr. Johnson?
No, Judge, I'm gonna see if I can't track Mr. Johnson down here in a minute. The same with Thomas Morris.
Thomas Morris here? Thomas Morris? Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna bring in Christopher Anderson, who's number 1 on the docket. He's appearing via Zoom on arraignment. Good morning, Mr. Anderson. I'm gonna have you unmute your device there. Good morning. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Anderson, my name is Chris Martin. I'm the judge of the 294th District Court. We're in open court at this time. I'm calling this case, this is cause number CR 13406, which is a forgery of a financial instrument. We're set for arraignment today. You are appearing via Zoom. I'm going to ask the prosecution for any announcements. Go ahead, Mr. Harwell.
Yes, Your Honor. I have a note in the file that Mr. Anderson called our office in December of 2023 to find out kind of what was going on. I guess he had found out that the charge was open and pending. Our office instructed him that he needed to contact the court to get a setting so that we could take care of this. And then recently we got another phone call. So at this point, Your Honor, state is still interested in pursuing these charges. I understand Mr. Anderson is in some maybe an ROTC program or something similar to that. But Your Honor, at this point, state, needs to get him in person at some point so that we can, wrap these charges up.
All right, Mr. Anderson, do you intend to hire an attorney to represent you in this matter?
Well, I was kind of trying to see if I needed one because I didn't know if I needed one or not.
It sounds like to me the prosecution is indicating that they want to proceed with the case to try to resolve it. So you need to, this is a felony charge. It's a state jail felony, which carries a range of punishment of not less than 6 months in prison or more than 2 years in prison if you were to be convicted and sentenced to prison. So it is a felony charge, and you need to either hire an attorney to represent you, or if you cannot afford one and you believe that you are indigent, you can apply for a court-appointed attorney.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll probably get a court-appointed attorney.
You believe that you're indigent and unable to afford one?
Yes, sir.
All right, so what I'm gonna do, Mr. Anderson, is I'm gonna reset your case today. I'm gonna reset you. Reset you to February 18th. And what I want you to do in the meantime is, I'm gonna message you my court coordinator's phone number and email address, and you need to make contact with her. And then you'll need to get the forms. Do we have the form online? We have the form online. So Mr. Anderson, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna send you her contact information, but I want you to go to my website, which is, I'll send it in the message. It's 294th.org. And on there is a form wherein you can request a court-appointed attorney. It's going to require you to fill out all of your financial information, money that your income, your expenses, information like that. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then once you fill all that out, you'll send it in to my coordinator, and then she will bring that form, we'll evaluate it, determine if you meet indigency standards under the law. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
let me send you her name. Okay, and you already have her phone number, I believe. Is that correct?
Is it Miss Patty?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Do you see a message pop up on your screen right there?
Yes, sir.
Here's the website for you to go to. All right, so I'm gonna send you this as well. Go onto that website, get that form, fill it out, and get in contact with Ms. Gabriel. And then we'll advise you between now and then if you're gonna receive a court-appointed attorney. Either way, well, once you receive that information, we're gonna reset you for arraignment on February 18th, and you'll need to stay in contact with the court. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So get all that information, send that in, and you're free to go.
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
So from my I'm understanding too that I still have like an active warrant, and that's why I was trying to see how I should proceed about that.
I don't have an indication that you have an active warrant. State, are you aware, Mr.
Yes,
Anderson?
sir, because that's what the military keeps flagging me for. They just tell me I have and that's how I found out that about this case is that they told me I had a active warrant with Van Zant County.
All right, give us a second. We'll look into it.
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Sure.
Just check with Mr. Nicholas. He's stuck in Monroe with his residence.
What's he say for today?
Oh, God. Might be able to get him on Zoom if you allow.
Yeah, that's fine.
Your Honor, it does appear, that a judgment nisi and alias capias was issued, in 2016. State wouldn't have an opposition to, personal bond in that amount. So that Mr. Anderson would be able to clear that warrant, and since he is in communication, be able to, show up and be able to figure this out from there.
Is there a bill jumping indictment or is it just a nisi for failure to appear?
Just nisi for failure to appear, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Anderson, are you in the military or are you in ROTC? What's your service level right now?
So I'm pending. So they sent me to the ROTC because of this warrant, and that's why I've been trying to get it worked on. But the moment that it is fixed, my plan is to, enlist into the active duty.
All right, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, Mr. Anderson, because you did appear today. I will recall the nisi warrant so that you won't have it, but the case will still be pending and active in your order to be here in person on February 18th, unless I tell you otherwise.
Yes, sir. And I have to be there in person.
You need to be here in person unless I tell you otherwise,
Okay, sir.
okay? Because there has to be a resolution. That way you can get here, meet with the attorneys and maybe work out your case to where you can resolve it and move on with your life. Okay,
Yes, sir.
but what I'll do is I will go ahead and withdraw the warrant that was issued in 2016 so that you'll have the freedom to travel to and from without worry of being arrested. But it's because you appeared today. I trust that you're going to be back here on the 18th to resolve the case,
Yes, sir. I will.
or at least attempt to resolve the case. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So get all those things done. Fill out that paperwork. Send it into Ms. Abraham. Plan to be here on the 18th unless Ms. Abraham tells you otherwise.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. You're free to go.
Thank you.
You give me a word of withdrawal. Just didn't have to be right now. Just so. Mr. Harville, when you approach.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Watson, Damon Watson, you'll come up. Thank you, sir. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, Mr. Watson, your attorney, Mr. Platten, is unable to be here today. The state has agreed to pass your case until February 18th. Okay, so I'm gonna have you sign this form. Looks like you were set to plea today, so I'm gonna set you to plea on February 18th. Sign this form, we'll give you a copy, and then you're free to go.
All right, yes, sir.
Watson, have you paid your pretrial release fees?
I'm headed there right now.
All right, shows that you owe $40.
20, oh, 40?
It says 40.
Okay, I'll.
Maybe behind a week or so.
I got it.
Okay, good. All right, take care of that.
I'll see you on this.
Mr. Watts? Mr. Millslagel is appearing via Zoom today. About to bring him.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Millslagel. How are you, sir?
Oh.
All right, this is cause number CR 24-157, State of Texas versus Bennett Thomas Watts. Mr. Watts, as president of the court today, he is set for docket call. Mr. Millslagel, any announcements?
Yes, sir. We filed a continuance late on Friday. My plan was to be there in person, but Mr. Harrison got sick over the weekend, and I was here in Smith County. We have additional discovery we need to provide to the state. I think a month would be able to get all that information to them, then we can sit down and have some serious conversations about how this should be resolved.
All right, so are you asking for like a February 18th?
That would be fine, Your Honor.
You believe that you can, because I think we were set for what today, docket call. Do you believe that you'll have the discovery to the state where they can actually go through it and y'all can have your negotiations by then?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Any objections from the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, the court will set Mr. Watts then for docket call February 18th. Mr. Watts, I show that you're also delinquent on your pretrial fees. Can you pay the $40 you owe today?
Not today, no.
How soon can you pay it?
Maybe next time.
Well, you're gonna be $80 then.
Yeah.
You can't pay any this month?
Yeah, I can, yes, sir. Maybe in a couple of weeks, yes.
All right, just know I'm watching that, so it's important that you get that taken care of.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Millslagel, I'm gonna have him sign a form, give him a copy, and he's free to go.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it.
Thanks, sir. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
That one of Mr. Schmidt's. Well, this is gonna appear via Zoom. One of Mr. Schmidt's clients is gonna appear via Zoom. No, he's meeting with others, just reminding myself out loud. Mr. Johnson said he could appear via Zoom, so he's there now. Mr. Thomas? Keith Thomas? All right, Mr. Thomas, this is sanctions court hearing. Looks like you met all of the orders. You paid your probation, paid your district court collection fees, worked your 25 hours community service. That's good. Looks like you are still set to expire in March, so pretty soon. It says everything has to be due in full by February 7th to expire in time. So let me see what all we're looking at here. So that's a week from Friday. All right, Keith, it looks like, so you still have about 89 hours of community service to go. Not likely you're gonna get that done by a week from Friday. You'd have to be working full time, basically, okay? You owe 1,645, okay? So let's do this. I'm gonna have you come back on. February 18th. I'm gonna have you pay 60 to probation, 150 to court collections, just like you've been doing, your 25 hours community service. It looks like we'll probably have to extend you, to kind of keep you on that path so that we can get you done, because you're not gonna expire in time. Unless you worked all those hours and paid all of that, so.
I like 280.
Say again?
I got 280 hours. See,
Yeah, you were-
after I sent you that paper, I still work some more time. I have my up-to-date paper right here if you want to see it.
Well, you can show that to your probation officers. What they're reporting to me is you still have about 90 hours left to get your 350 done.
Mhm.
So, and you still owe $1,600. If you could have all of that done, then you could be off probation by March. If not, we're gonna have to extend you, and so that we don't have to revoke you.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So what I want to see at minimal on February 18th is $60 of probation, 150 to court collections, 25 hours. If you pay more than that, then great, we'll give you credit for all that. Then we'll reevaluate on the 18th to see where we're at.
Okay.
Okay, you're doing well though.
Yes, sir.
Lena Price. Lena, let's see here. From last sanctions court, looks like you paid your probation, you paid your collections. Says you didn't work your community service. Did you get your community service done?
Yes, sir. She didn't turn it in because they found out she didn't know who to turn it into because Miss Griffith's not there no more.
All right, where'd you do it and when did you do it?
And my sister's closet. And it's around the beginning of the first week or two of January.
And how many hours did you do?
I think she said 8, but I'm putting in a lot more too.
So you did 8 hours?
Mhm.
All right, so you got it, the goal was 15,
Okay,
okay? So that's what you need to be doing.
all right.
If you want to get off probation in May of 2026, you have to do 15 hours every month.
Okay.
That's like your number.
All right,
15
I'm gonna
hours,
try- I'm
15
gonna-
hours minimum. Anything over that, you get ahead. Anything under that, you fall behind. So
Okay.
just remember 15, all right? So I'm gonna bring you back on February 18th. $60 to probation, 65 to court collections. And these are the minimums that you have to pay. These are minimums in order to expire on time, and 15 hours community service, okay?
Okay.
And then Lena, once you're through signing that, come back over here and meet with the probation officers. They're gonna go ahead and do a UA today, okay?
Okay. Alright.
Well, that much sure they taken care of that. Max Juarez. Max Juarez, Max Juarez. Sorry about that.
How you doing today, y'all?
Doing good, Mr. Juarez. All right, let's see, this is a sanctions court hearing. It looks like you paid twice as much on probation, you paid twice as much on court collections. That's good. Looks like you provided verification of your 12-step program. Looks like you came up short on community service. Was there?
For that, remember how we talked, last time we talked, you said we was gonna find something out since I work 7 days a week? Cause right now, just, like I said, I was supposed to, work today, but this weekend we're gonna get off and they told me it's gonna be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those 3 days I'm gonna be over here. I'm really short on funds, so I'm gonna just come to town and I could do some community service hours on my days off.
All right, I'm gonna bring you back on February 18th. Minimum 90 to probation. 75 to court collections. You pay more, great, you get ahead.
Yeah. And again, I apologize for turning in late. It's just, I had, issues with my debit card.
I appreciate you telling me that. I just appreciate you getting it paid, even if it's late. I want it to be on time, but I can understand.
Yeah.
All right, so 90 to probation, 75 to court collections, 10 hours community service, and continue with your 12-step program. CR 23-185.
ask as well, may I please have a note for my supervisor?
We can get you one. We'll get you one over here to show that you ran court today. All right, this is what we're gonna do, Max. So 90 to probation, 75 to court collections, 12-step program, and I need 10 hours community service. I'll tell you what I'll do for 5 hours. I'll give you 5 hours. If you will produce me a 5-minute video in English and a 5-minute video in Spanish. You speak Spanish, correct? You speak
Yeah.
Spanish?
Yeah,
All right.
it's not the best, but it will come out good.
I want one that's English and I want one that's Spanish.
Yeah.
And I want the topic to be the cost of doing drugs.
Sounds good.
All right, so I want to hear about the legal cost, all this you're having to go through, the
Yeah.
money, the time, all those things.
Like on both sides of the story, like,
Yeah,
What-
I want you to say the same thing, one in English,
yeah,
one in Spanish.
sounds good.
All right, so introduce yourself, why you're in court, what you're doing, why you're having to do the video.
And
all
I was gonna ask, for my next date, just, cause I'm gonna have to do a few things next month and my uncle doesn't really give me time to get off. Can I come in person again instead of doing it through Zoom?
You can always come in person.
Yeah, I'll come in person, next month then.
Okay,
That way I can have a day off.
all right, and then I need you to bring those videos with you to court next time.
Yeah, I'll record them.
Okay? All right. And I'll give you 5 hours. That means you still gotta figure out another.
Yeah, I'll still come this weekend and, knock some hours out.
All right.
I really appreciate that, Your Honor. I really
You're
do.
welcome.
All right. Have a blessed day. Yeah, have a blessed day.
You as well. Mr. Schmidt, I'm just calling a sanctions court, so whenever you're ready. If you need time, then I can call another one. If you're ready, I can call you. 10 seconds. Made it 10 seconds. All right, who do you want to call first?
Edgar Vasquez.
Edgar Vasquez? Edgar Ariel Vasquez? He's in the hallway.
He may have stepped out. Move to Courtney Atwood.
All right, Courtney Atwood. This is cause numbers CR 24-196 and 197. State of Texas versus Courtney Joe Atwood. Miss Atwood has been charged with driving while intoxicated, a class B misdemeanor, and also possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 2. Court finds that she's requested a court-appointed attorney. The court, having reviewed her application, finds her to be indigent for purposes of the Sixth Amendment, and has appointed the Honorable Richard Schmidt as counsel. Mr. Schmidt, go ahead.
Judge, we have received and reviewed the indictment on both of these charges. Her name's spelled correctly. We'll waive reading and enter a plea of not guilty.
Court finds that Ms. Atwood, having waived the formal requirements of arraignment, enters her plea of not guilty into the record. Court sets both cases for pretrial. Do you want that February 18th, or do you need more time, Mr.
A
Schmidt?
little more time, if that'd be okay.
I don't have anything in early March, so the only setting I have in March for you would be March 25th.
25th? That's fine.
All right, court sets Ms. Atwood for March 25th for pretrial in each case. Ms. Atwood, have you already met with Mr. West, the pretrial release officer?
Yes, sir.
You have, okay.
Yeah. Get to send me that email. Those are gonna be the new. She really?
Just a second. So Ms. Atwood, I understand that you're in some kind of recovery program right now,
Yes, sir.
and they're here with you today, is that correct? Is it, who's here today with Ms. Atwood?
He's outside.
He's outside, okay. Well, just tell him I appreciate them making arrangements to have you here today.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go.
Yeah, we'll see you.
You want to try Mr. Juarez
Vasquez?
or Vasquez? Edgar Ariel Vasquez, CR 24-292, CR 24-293. State of Texas versus Edgar Ariel Vasquez. The court has found Mr. Vasquez to be indigent for purposes of the Sixth Amendment, has appointed the Honorable Richard Schmidt as counsel for Mr. Vasquez. We're set for arraignment today. Go ahead, Mr. Schmidt.
That's correct, Judge. We did receive the indictments. His name is correct, understands the charges. We'll waive reading and enter a plea not guilty.
Court enters Mr. Vasquez's plea of not guilty in each case. That's each matter. You want this also in March?
Yes, please.
Court sets Mr. Vasquez for pretrial hearing March 25th. That will be at 9 a.m. Mr. Vasquez, have you already met with the court's pretrial release officer, Mr. West?
We're doing it right now.
You're doing it right now? Okay. Make sure you finish up with him before you leave.
Yes, sir.
This is your recent notice. Going back through 25.
25.
Then we'll be in touch. Yeah, don't finish up with Mr. West and you're good to go.
Who's next?
Benjamin Carnes.
Benjamin Colin Carnes. This is cause numbers CR 24-275, CR 24-276. Mr. Carnes is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a second-degree felony. In each case, the court has found him to be indigent for purposes of the Sixth Amendment, has appointed the Honorable Richard Schmidt as counsel. Mr. Schmidt, are you ready for arraignment?
Yes, sir. We've received the indictments. His name's correct in the indictment, understands the charge. We'll waive reading and enter a plea not guilty to both
All right,
counts.
the court enters Mr. Carnes' plea of not guilty into the record in each case respectively. And the court will set him for pretrial hearing on March 25th. Mr. Carnes, have you also met with Mr. West, the pretrial release officer?
Yes, sir.
You've already signed your conditions of pretrial release?
Yes,
All right, then once you get this yellow copy and sign, you're free to go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Don't forget to spend your news. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
I think you have Braxton Johnson.
Yes, I do. I've seen him. Seen him get in the waiting room. Johnson, there you go. Can you see and hear me okay?
Sir?
Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're in court right now, Mr. Johnson, on your cases, cause numbers CR 24-166 and CR 24-273. Present in the room is your attorney, Mr. Schmidt, and we're set for pretrial today. I'm allowing you to appear via Zoom from the state of Louisiana. And Mr. Schmidt, are you ready for pretrial?
I am, Judge. First, I'd say that I believe, and I think we talked about the last time we were in court, that these charges are duplicate charges. In other words, he's been indicted twice. I think the second indictment was an error, but it is the same charge, same date of offense. So ultimately, we would expect one of these to be dismissed just because it is a duplicate. Other than that, we don't have any contested pretrial motions that need a setting at this time, and we'd ask that it be placed on a docket.
All right. Did you hear that, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
All right, court will set Mr. Johnson then for for docket call on February 18th at 9 a.m. And Mr. Johnson, you'll need to make arrangements to be in Texas in this court on February 18th for your docket call, okay?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry about that. Today I thought it was the 23rd and got it mixed up. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. I understand. I trust you on that. So no problems. Don't worry about it. Okay, we'll see you on the 18th, all right?
Yes, sir. Can you have him to email me the court date?
I will.
Mr. Schmidt said he'll send you an email.
All right, thank you.
All right, you're free to go. And Mr. Schmidt, I didn't talk to Mr. Johnson about this, but he's got delinquencies about $250 on his supervision. And State, will you look into what Mr. Schmidt has indicated about whether or not that's a duplicate charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if it is, just send me a dismissal and we'll get it done and off the docket. Richard, before you go, real quick. Is Thomas Morris here? Thomas Wayne Morris? Okay. Who'd you like to call first?
In charge, Mr. Sean Allen.
Mr. Allen, Sean, Michael Allen, CR 24-253. All right, Mr. Allen is set for arraignment today. Go ahead.
Yes, Judge. Judge, his name is spelled correctly. He understands the charge against him as well as the range of punishment. His plea is not guilty and requests to be set on the pretrial docket.
All right, court enters Mr. Allen's plea of not guilty into the record. Finds he's waived the formal requirements of arraignment. Court sets Mr. Allen then for pretrial hearing. Is February too soon for you, Mr. Manning?
Judge, what date in February?
13th. That's the only Thursday I have, other than maybe an evidentiary day, which I don't mind putting you on there.
Judge,
If the 20th helps.
we can do the 13th.
13th. All right, court sets Mr. Allen then for pretrial February 13th at 9 a.m. Once he signs, gets the yellow copy, he's free to go.
May he be excused?
Yes, free to go.
Thank you, Judge. Next, ready on Mr. Davis, Sean Davis.
Sean Ray Davis, cause numbers CR 2395, CR 23207, CR 23208, CR 23209. And Mr. Davis, I believe is set on docket call.
Yes, Judge. At this time, Mr. Davis rejects the offers made by the state, request to be set on the jury selection docket.
All right, what offer was made by the state and rejected by the defense?
Judge, I would have to rely on the state for that. I know we went through a couple different itinerations and negotiated, but my client refused all options.
State, do you recall what Mr. Davis was offered and rejected?
Looking for that now, Your Honor.
All right, while you're doing that, then the court will set Mr. Davis for jury selection beginning February 3rd. Mr. Davis, on February 3rd, you will not report to the courtroom, rather you'll report downstairs on the second floor. And Ms. Tabraham or another member of my staff will be there. The pretrial release officer may be there as well. Mr. Manning, it's not going to be a regular court date. You're going to continue to report like that until your case is called for trial. You're not going to go to trial on the 3rd, but you're going to begin that process of your case working its way up to trial, okay? So Mr. Manning may not be there as he's not required to be there until your case is in the top 10.
And Judge, due to the nature of this case as well as some of the witnesses, we may ask for a special setting in his case. I don't know where this court has availability on special setting, but I believe this might be appropriate case to have specially set.
Okay. If you believe it is, then I'll just email Ms. Taberham and we can start looking for the
May
dates.
Mr. Davis be excused?
Yeah, well, I was gonna see, what was the offer? Have we figured that out yet?
I have not found it yet, Your Honor, just due to the length that the case has been going on and
Okay.
how many there are. I'm still looking.
Okay, that's okay. All right, Mr. Davis, you're free to go.
Thank you.
That's okay, Mr. Hartwell. Who's next?
Next ready on Miss Harvey.
Dorothy Louise Harvey, CR 24231. Ms. Harvey is set for pretrial today. Go ahead.
Yes, Judge, we were unable to, Ms. Harvey and I, due to sickness and weather and such, were unable to get an opportunity to meet and go over the discovery. We'd request for additional pretrial to go over the discovery in her case.
All right, court sets Ms. Harvey for additional pretrial February 13th at 9 a.m. Once she signs, she's free to go.
Thank you, Judge. Sign. She's saying come back on February 13th to court. What I need you to do. Go ahead. Oh, not too. Oh, hold on. Judge, may Ms. Harvey be excused?
Free to go.
Next, ready on Mr. Makeda.
Daniel Alejandro Makeda, CR 24216. Show that Mr. Makeda is set for pretrial.
Yes, Judge. We have no contested pretrial issues at this time. Request to be set on docket call.
February 13th, suitable.
Yes, Judge.
Court sets Mr. Makeda for docket call February 13th, 9 a.m. Once he signs, gets the yellow copy, free to go.
Thank you, Judge. You'll sign. And then if you wait for the call. Next, ready on Mr. McGregor.
Daniel Edward McGregor, CR 24172. Mr. McGregor is set for docket call today.
Yes, Judge. I believe we've reached a plea agreement in this case. Were some collateral issues that Mr. McGregor was wanting to discuss with me, but we do have the state's offer and conditional acceptance on that offer. If we can set his case for a plea on the February 13th date, I believe he'll be ready to go forward at that time.
All right, will that be a morning plea or afternoon plea?
It'll be a morning plea, Judge.
All right, court sets Mr. McGregor for plea on February 13th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Judge. Next, ready on Mr. Madrano.
Isaiah Alexander Madrano, CR 24218. Mr. Madrano. All right, Mr. Madrano is set for docket call today.
Yes, Judge. In looking back over my notes from the docket on the 9th, I don't believe we received an offer on Mr. Madrano. I was gonna see if we could have an additional, actually, Judge, if we may recall this case, I need to speak to my client about something. If we could recall his case, I apologize.
Mr. Madrano, have a seat. I'm gonna recall you in just a moment after Mr. Manning has time to talk with you.
Judge, I have an announcement on Miss Shaddix. Sorry, it's Walker. I apologize.
All right, is she here?
Judge, she is not. I was able to speak to her on the phone this morning. She had an allergic reaction yesterday that sent her to the hospital. She was unable to breathe and her eyes were swollen up. She was unable to drive this morning or find someone to drive her. I told her that, as she was under the care of a physician, but not at the hospital, that would be up to the court whether she needed to appear via Zoom, or whether, she needed to be here in person. She said that right now she didn't feel safe driving, but she was going to send me photos of her current condition as well as the discharge paperwork from yesterday.
Okay. Do you know how long her condition's expected to persist?
Obviously, Judge, now she is able to breathe and she said the swelling is going down, but she still wasn't able to see clearly due to the amount of swelling that happened yesterday.
You wanna try again on Thursday?
That'd be fine, Judge.
All right. I'm not gonna, take an ISI or anything, so we'll just reset to Thursday of this week,
Thank you, Judge.
being the 23rd. That'll be in each case. That's cause numbers 20, 24, 138, 139, 140, and CR 24, 190.
Additionally, Judge, Mr. Powell is here. He was running a little bit late. We'll be going over his paperwork, and have it for the court shortly. Next, I have Miss Andrea Whitaker.
Ms. Whitaker, this is cause number CR 24244, State of Texas versus Andrea Lauren Whitaker, also cause numbers CR 24245 and 246. I believe we're set for pretrial today.
Yes, Judge, we have no contested pretrial matters. We would request to be set for docket call in all three cases.
All right, court sets Ms. Whitaker for docket call on February 13th, in all three cases at 9 a.m. And Ms. Whitaker, have you signed your conditions of pretrial release with Mr. West? You have not?
No.
Okay, then you'll need to meet, Mr. West is right behind you there. Meet with him before you leave and he'll have you fill out some paperwork and then you're free to go.
Okay, thank you.
So. Judge, I believe we're ready on Mr. Peary.
Yes, may I approach?
Yes, Lucas Peary, CR 24145. This is file numbers CR 24145. Your meetings.
Sorry, Judge.
No, were these misdemeanors, were these transferred up? Or do these need to be signed by judge?
Judge, I believe I filed a motion to transfer, but I can check on that. I think on the docket that it said they've been transferred from the county court at law.
I only show one entry on my document. So I thought I've seen something recently, but I've signed so much I can't.
Yes, Judge. If you give me just a moment. Oh, that was in. Judge, that may have fallen through the cracks. If you'd like, I can go downstairs and get Judge Winters to sign those after we complete.
I'll go ahead and mention the 1245 language and all that, but yeah, I think it'd be good to have Judge Winters since he has jurisdiction on the assignments.
Judge, I believe that was, I show it was sent on October 18th, but I do not show a signed order. From Judge Winters and from you, so it may have gotten lost in the shuffle. But I do show that was filed on October 18th.
Okay, I'll just have you take it after it. But Judge Winters will be happy to sign off on it. 1245.
Yes, Judge.
All right, Mr. Peary, this is cause number CR 24145. You'll raise your right hand. I'm gonna place you on the oath. Sir, you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Your name is Lucas Garrett Peary.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Peary, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, sir.
Rights and legislation.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any type of mental condition?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me about that?
Bipolar, schizophrenic, with anxiety and depression.
Okay. Are you currently on medication for those?
No, sir.
Are you under any medical care?
No, sir.
Do you believe that your diagnosis for those mental health conditions are in any way affecting your ability to rationally understand what's going on here in court today?
No, sir.
All right. And you are represented by your attorney, Mr. Jonathan Manning. Are you pleased with Mr. Manning as your attorney and the work he's done?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about the paperwork or anything else before we go forward?
Yes, sir. He explained everything to me.
Good. Mr. Manning, do you believe Mr. Peary to be competent today? And if so, have you explained to him his rights about this case? Also, the advantages and disadvantages of a deferred adjudication plea?
Judge, I have explained the advantages and disadvantages as well as his rights. He is waiving his rights intentionally, knowingly, and voluntarily.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manning. All right, Mr. Peary, you are charged by indictment with the state jail felony offense of attempted tampering or fabricating physical evidence with intent to impair. A state jail felony does carry a range of punishment if you were to be convicted and sentenced to not less than 6 months in prison or more than 2 years in prison, and also a possible fine not to exceed $10,000. I see that the plea agreement in your case today is that upon you pleading guilty to the charge, the DA's office is recommending that the court consider the evidence but not convict you today. And they're recommending that the court place you on deferred community supervision for a period of 2 years. In addition, they're recommending a $1,000 fine plus payment of court costs and reimbursement fees. Court costs of $290, reimbursement fees of $535. In addition, the DA's office is agreeing to dismiss the misdemeanor cases of displaying fictitious license plate and possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Peary? Yes, sir. All right. Any questions about that? All right, then, Mr. Peary, understanding the range of punishment, understanding the plea agreement, how do you plead to the state jail felony offense of attempted tampering or fabricating with physical evidence?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty to that crime because you are in fact guilty of committing that crime? You have to answer out loud.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Peary, has anybody threatened, forced, or pressured you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
All right, the court will accept the defendant's plea of guilt at this time. Mr. Manning, any objection to the stipulation of evidence?
No objection as offered.
All right, the stipulation is admitted and the court takes judicial notice of the defendant's judicial confession. Anything further from the state?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything further from the defense?
Rest on closed, Judge.
All right, court will review the evidence. All right, Mr. Perry, the court, having reviewed the evidence, finds that there is enough evidence to convict you of this offense. Court will follow the plea agreement and recommendation of the DA's office. The court hereby defers a finding of guilt, places Mr. Perry on 2 years community supervision, orders him to pay a $1,000 fine, $290 in court cost, $535 in reimbursement fees. Further, the court finds that this plea agreement is including the dismissal under section 1245 of filed misdemeanor causes 2024-295, possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces, and also 2024-296, display of fictitious license plate. All right, Mr. Perry, you're hereby remanded to the custody of the probation department so they can carry out the terms and conditions of the sentence. Deputy Martinez is going to take your fingerprint, and after that, probation officers over here will give you more information, okay? Manny, do you want those 1245 back to take down to Judge Winters? They're on the back of that stuff up there.
Thank you. And I'll be out in the hallway going over paperwork, Mr. Powell.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mesa? All right, Mr. Mesa, it looks like you're doing well. You paid your probation fees, you're doing your community service. Looks like you came up a little bit short on your community service.
Yes, sir.
But it is Officer Ventura's recommendation today that we release you from sanctions court. So she's, to me, that's indicating that she trusts that you're gonna be compliant on probation and that we no longer need to bring you in to sanctions court every month and go through this. So don't prove her wrong.
I
Okay.
will not.
She's putting some faith and trust in you that you're gonna be able to take care of things, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you don't have to come see me anymore unless you mess up, so don't mess up, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Do you need anything from? Okay, I don't believe she
Yeah, I have
does.
to wait for the hallway.
Okay, then you're free to go.
Yes, sir. You have a good evening.
You as well. Keep up the good work. You're welcome. Ms. Sampson? All right, Ms. Sampson, this is another hearing on your Sanctions Court. All right, so it looks like you served your 3 days in jail for
Yes.
your violations last time. And so it looks like you came up short on your fees. Did you make any late payments that I'm unaware of?
I'm actually gonna take care of that. When I leave here, I have to go to see Miss Bryant, and I was gonna do that.
Are you going to be able to pay your probation fee of 65?
Yes, I was gonna do both.
Okay, so you can pay your court fees of 40?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. And then your community service, did you do any community service that was reported?
I went ahead and signed up. I had to wait for the lady to get back in and also with the holidays, but I signed up. And I think I'll be starting Friday. I just gotta wait for her to give me the schedule.
Okay. All right, so this is what I want to do. Do you go by Shakol?
Yes, sir.
All right, is it okay if I call you Shakol?
Yeah, it's
All
fine.
right, good. So Shakol, what I want to do is I want to bring you back on February 18th. Okay,
Mhm.
and before then, I want you to pay. So that's going to go into February. Okay, so the money that you're going to pay today goes for this past month.
Okay, so.
So you're going to pay your 65 and your 40. So you're going to pay 105 today over.
Mhm.
You'll pay 40 over here to the court collections.
Mhm.
So I'd pay that before you go over, so you don't have to go back and forth.
Right,
And then you'll pay 65 over there to the probation department. So before the 18th, I need you to do that again.
okay,
Okay.
and that would be for,
That'll be for this month.
okay, got you.
And the other one was for this past month.
Okay, I
Okay.
understand.
That'll be for the whole month of February.
Okay,
So 65 to probation, 40 to court collections, 24 hours community service. Okay. And the reason it's high is because you're delinquent. We're trying to get you caught up. It looks like you're supposed to get off probation in September of this year.
yes, sir.
So you have 170 hours to do. You've only worked about 25, so you're about 115 hours short. So we're trying to get you caught up. So that hopefully you can get off probation in September.
Yeah, I'll be doing it at the library, there, so I'll be doing all of it there.
Okay, good. So 24 hours community service, pay those fees, and then make sure that you attend your cognitive education class in February, March.
He got me scheduled for the summer.
It says,
July.
what I've got down is that you're going February 22nd through March 22nd. So
I
need
may
to-
have to talk to him. I talked to him yesterday too also.
well, and make sure that Miss Bryant knows, okay?
Okay,
So whether you do it now or in the summer, I really don't care as long as your probation officer is on board with it.
yes, sir.
Okay, if they say it's fine in the summer, then I'm fine, as long as you get it done before the end, but they may want you doing it sooner for a reason, I don't know, okay?
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Crocker? All right, this is cause number CR 05-63, say versus Tammy Crocker for Sanctions Court.
I made my payments this morning.
Did you pay both of them?
Yes, sir. The 90 and the 100. I have a receipt on my phone if you need to see it.
I can trust you, can I?
Yes, sir. I've
Okay,
been paying them every month.
well, you have been paying that. My first question was gonna be, Tammy, this is different.
Yeah, I paid them this morning. They changed my paydays at work, so
Okay. All right, then let's come back on the 18th and
Yes, sir.
do what we've been doing.
yes, sir.
190, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, once you sign this, you'll be good to go.
Yes, sir.
A
Thank
90
you.
to probation and 100 to
100 to-
restitution. She's already done all of her hours.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks for doing that. Here, she's with me. All right, Misty, come on up. This is cause number CR 21-158, Sanctions Court hearing for Ms. Backus. All right, give me an update here, Misty. Let's see, we had 65 to probation. It says that, were you able to pay that? It says that.
I'm going after we leave, I'll leave here,
What are you paying in today?
65,
65 to probation?
and I paid 115 to the court cost
When did you do that?
this morning. I have the receipt right here.
Okay. I'm just gonna write this down. Okay, what about your community service?
I was only able to do 6 hours. Did you get the memo from my probation officer?
No, I honestly, you weren't even on I think we left your name off the docket today, so I didn't have anything on you.
She passed away.
Okay. That was your probation officer?
No, this is my my mother-in-law, and we moved in with her. She
Oh,
was
okay,
on
I'm sorry.
hospice care.
Okay. So you did 6 hours?
Yes, sir.
All right, says that you did your monthly counseling. Let's see. Did you get any more money to Mr. Jakes?
Not yet.
Not yet. When are you gonna pay? So you owe him 145. How much are you gonna pay him?
I'm gonna pay the full, probably tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, yes.
All right, so let's do this. I'll have you come back on the 18th. And we'll do 65 to probation, 115 to court collections, 24 hours community service, keep doing your monthly meeting. Pay if you pay 50 to Mr. Jakes tomorrow, then you'll need to have another 50 to your counselor, 50 to counselor on the 18th, and then that'll get you pretty close. That'll get you down a total of $50, okay?
I didn't know if you needed to do that. I'm sending it to my computer. What do you think? It just wasn't used to being the 25 yet. Thank you, sir.
All right, so hey, make sure you go over there and pay your fees, okay? Right, you said Mr. LaFlash was revoked in Kaufman, huh? All right, the following names have been announced loudly and clearly in the courtroom at 9 a.m. Were not present. Their names have been called loudly and distinctly 3 times in the courthouse without response. Before the court will issue a judgment nasa alias capias for Charles Kirsten II, CR 2472, and also Thomas Wayne Morris, CR 24282. Court's going to stand in recess, so Mr. Manning will have an opportunity to prove his client. We will resume. Shortly.
Yes, Judge.
California. This is cause number CR 24-219, State of Texas versus Matthew Lee Ryan Powell. Mr. Powell, sir, if you'll raise your right hand, I'm going to place you under oath. Sir, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sir.
All right, you can lower your hand. Your name is Matthew Lee Ryan Powell, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Powell, are you a United States citizen who reads, writes, and speaks English?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental condition?
No, sir.
In this case, you're represented by your attorney, Mr. Jonathan Manning. Are you pleased with Mr. Manning and the work he's done for you?
Yes, sir.
You understand everything that you have read and signed as part of your plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any questions about anything before we go further?
No, sir.
Mr. Manning, do you believe Mr. Powell to be competent today? And if so, do you believe that he understands his rights as they pertain to this case, including the advantages and disadvantages of a deferred adjudication plea?
Judge, I have explained those rights. I do believe he understands those rights and is competent to weigh those rights.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manning. Mr. Powell, you are charged by indictment with a third-degree felony offense of deadly conduct, discharge of a firearm. That does carry a range of punishment of not less than 2 years in prison or more than 10 years in prison, and a possible fine not to exceed $10,000. I see that there is a plea agreement in your case. The DA's office is recommending that the court consider the evidence, and upon your plea of guilty, to defer a finding of guilt, not convict you today, and place you on 3 years of community supervision. They're recommending a $1,000 fine plus payment of court costs of $290 and reimbursement fees of $535. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement in this case?
Yes, sir.
And before I go any further, is there an agreement with regards to any weapon that was used and seized as part of this offense?
Your Honor, the weapon that was used, actually belonged to a third party that was uninvolved and, should have been returned to that party.
Do you believe it's already, they're not holding it as criminal evidence at this time?
I believe so, Your Honor. And we'll follow up with, law enforcement to make sure that it goes to its rightful owner.
Okay. All right, Mr. Powell, understanding the charge, understanding the plea agreement, at this time, how do you plead to deadly conduct or discharge of a firearm?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty to that crime because you are in fact guilty of committing that crime?
Sir.
And Mr. Powell, has anybody threatened, forced, or pressured you to plead guilty to that crime?
No, sir.
Court will accept the defendant's plea of guilt at this time. Mr. Manning, any objection to the stipulation of evidence?
No objection as offered.
Stipulation is admitted and the court takes judicial notice of the defendant's judicial confession. Anything further from the state?
Your Honor, only that, victims in the case were not very cooperative with law enforcement during the investigation. If this case were to go forward, we believe that lack of cooperation would continue.
Thank you, Mr. Hartwell. Anything further from the defense?
Nothing for defense, Judge.
All right, court's gonna consider the evidence. All right, court has reviewed the evidence, finds that there is enough evidence to convict the defendant of this offense. The court will follow the plea agreement and the recommendation of the DA's office. Court hereby defers a finding of guilt on the charge of deadly conduct, discharge of a firearm. Orders Mr. Powell to be placed on 3 years community supervision. Orders him to pay a $1,000 fine, $290 court cost, $535 reimbursement fees. Well, you're hereby remanded to the custody of the probation department so they can carry out the terms and conditions of the sentence. I'm gonna have you come forward to be fingerprinted with Deputy Martinez. After that, the probation officers will tell you about what's next. Hey, when you called names earlier, you called Ricky Brown, so they're right. Yes, sir. Okay. I think I failed. I think I made a misstatement earlier. In cause numbers CR 24-282, 283, 284, State of Texas versus Ricky Devon Roan. The court finds that Mr. Roan was scheduled for court today at 9 AM. He failed to appear, was not in the court room when his name was called. Further, Mr. Roan's name was called loudly distinctly 3 times in the courthouse with no response. Court hereby issues judgment not cite alias PPS for Mr. Roan. I believe I stated on the record earlier that I was issuing a judgment not cite for Mr. Hairston. The court finds that there is already a 1716 release of surety warrant for Mr. Hairston, so there will not be a judgment not cite alias KPS on Mr. Hairston. Just to clear that up for the. This is cause number CR 24-218, State of Texas versus Isaiah Alexander Madrano for docket call.
Yes, Judge. We would request additional docket call. Mr. Madrano was provided an offer, and would like some additional time to consider that offer, as well as go over some things with me. If we could set that out to the February date, I think that should give us sufficient time.
Any objection from state?
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, court will set Mr. Madrano for final docket call February 13th, 9 AM. Once he signs and gets the yellow copy, he's free to go.
And Judge, just briefly on Mr. Roan's case, I didn't have an opportunity to make an announcement earlier. I know that Mr. Roan was originally set for arraignment on the January 9th docket and reset. I was unable to contact Mr. Roan on any of the information I was given due to him being on a personal bond. I didn't know if the court resent notice to Mr. Roan, and if so, to what address?
No, in fact, Mr. Manning, I do not see that Ms. Abraham resent notice to Mr. Roan. So the court will, the last notice that we sent was for January 9th, and it was to the address of 2667 County Road 430, Tyler, in 570. So the court will not issue a judgment nisi alias KPS for Mr. Roan. Rather, we will send new notice for a new court date of February 13th.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you for correcting me.
Well, Judge, it was on my notes, and I was gonna bring it up, then I heard you make the nice eye, so.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. That concludes this Morning's docket, we are gonna reset Mr. Keith Pryor for, let's set him for status on 218. I'll have Abraham inquire about the detainer
Yes, sir.
on Mr. Pryor. That does conclude this morning's criminal docket. We're gonna stand in recess until 1:30. Thank you, Mr. Manning.